We've solved this problem in a wonderful way. Let's say that I want to save this document. I'll do a save as. That's the panel. It's attached to the window. Just comes right down here. And this is the save panel. Now, you might say, well, what if the window's really small? Well, that's what happens. You might say, you know, what if the window's over near the edge of the screen? Well, that happens. So the level of fit and finish in Mac OS X is very, very high. Now, I want to show you something having to do with the Save panel that illustrates the philosophy of Mac OS X. We've gone through the OS and we've looked at everything and asked, how can we simplify this? And how can we make it more powerful at the same time? So this is an example. In the Save panel here, you notice this is the simplest Save panel you've ever seen. And you just name the document, and a pop-up list gives you all your favorite places, right, to the desktop or wherever, and all the recent places that you've saved documents. But what if you want to save it to somewhere that's not on one of those lists? Well, then you just push this button, and you get a full browser interface where you can go through and save it anywhere you like here, you know? And if you think you might go back to that place, you can add it to the favorites with a button, and guess what? It'll just show right up here, now in your list of favorites. So it's very, very easy to save things. It's very, very easy to do things without a lot of complexity, but when you need the complexity, it's right there in a very elegant way. Very simple. Okay. I'd like to show you one other thing. Mac OS X features the ability for developers to anti-alias all of their text. And this gives you an example of what text looks like in our system. Again, just to resize a document. Look at this. All real time. Very simple. Okay, now I'd like to talk about the Finder. First thing about the Finder, the new Finder, is if you want to use it like a Macintosh, you can. You can just drag a hard disk out here and click on it, up pops a window. Very simple. It's an alias. You can just drag it to the trash and throw it away if you want to. So, you can also hide the toolbar or show the toolbar. And you can go in here and say, well, I want to go into my hard disk, or I want to go into my network and just see everything on the network. Very simple. So the network has been integrated right into the Finder. If you want to go on the network, you just go back here and go on the network. If you want to go in a disk, you go in a disk. And I could go to users here, and I could go into myself, and I could go into my documents. Now, if you'll notice, there's a pop-up list here that lists everywhere I've just traversed. And I can go back to computer if I want to, and I'm back at the beginning. I also have a back button. This says go where I last was, and I flip this and I'm back at documents, right? We've also built a bunch of shortcuts into the toolbar. So I have a button for documents, a button for applications, a button for home. So I push documents, and I'm in the same place I was that I just traversed. Users, home, computer. Very, very simple, very fast to navigate around. We also have icon view, list view, and we have a new view, which is a browser view. This is also very fast. Again, you can just traverse this to users, myself. I'll go into documents here. We even have a browser here that'll let me, a previewer, I'm sorry, that will let me preview documents here, right? It will actually let me preview, let's see, where is one? I think it's in here. I've got a, you know, QuickTime VR. I can just preview these if I want to. I can also, you know, preview a movie if I want to.
Well, it's one for the money, two for the show, three to get ready. Now go, cat, go, but don't do.
And I can even preview MP3 files.
10 years old with a suit.
So, very simple. All sorts of different ways to look at my files. All righty. Now I want to show you one of the coolest features of Mac OS X. It's called the dock, and it's a way to organize our work, organize our applications, organize our documents, organize our miniaturized windows. And here it is down at the bottom of the screen. I can place applications and documents and miniaturized windows in the dock. In my applications, I can just move the order of anything around just by dragging it. Very easy to do. I can drag something out of the dock if I want to, and it will break the link because these are all just links to where the applications are really stored in the file system. And let me go ahead and add some more items in the dock. I will go back here, and I will go to, I'll go back, show the toolbar, and I'll go to Applications. And let me grab a bunch of apps here. And I just drag them down the dock. And as I add more apps to the dock, as you see, what happens is the dock simply gets smaller. And as I drag them off, I break the links, and the dock gets larger, right? Very simple. Now, I can also resize the dock to anything I want. I can make it very small like this if I want to, or I can make it, as big as it can be. But let's say I put a lot of applications in, or I just like it this small. How am I going to ever find anything in the dock? Well, let me go ahead and turn on something in Preferences. It's called Magnification, and now it just works like this. Very simple. Right? And I can even hide the dock if I want to, and it will just show when I do this. Right? Very simple. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the dock up right now, and I'll take a few of these things out here that I don't need. Alrighty, so that is the dock. Now I'd like to show you some other cool things about the dock. I'll open a few photos again. In the Macintosh right now, the Mac does not do a good job of miniaturizing windows. It puts this window shade thing right on the screen, right in front of what you're working on, and you have to manage it. Let me show you a much better way. If I want to miniaturize this window, I just click this yellow button right here, and it goes down in the dock. And I have a thumbnail that's created, and I want it back. I just click it, and it comes back. Let me show you this in slow motion. Look at this. So it's now really easy to be working on a bunch of documents at one time and just go ahead and have an easy way to miniaturize them and keep track of them. Look at what happens when it's down here like this. It just pops up and goes down. Very, very simple. Very, very easy. Any kind of document, right in the dock. All righty. Now I'd like to show you a QuickTime player. Let's go back and get some content here. I've got a movie trailer here for a new film coming out called Vertical Limit. And first of all, I can show you the channel buttons right here. Well, let me go ahead and play the movie first.
It's gonna blow! The nitro! It's gonna blow!
You get the idea. And so now let me go launch an application that we wrote called The Bomb. And The Bomb does everything it can to try to crash the computer. It overwrites low memory. It does everything we know how to do to try to crash this computer.